The rookie tight end out of Miami continues to impress this season. Mallory goes for 19.
Well, you said it, Andrew. This kid has impressed, and when I watched him, I mean, he's just got a feel. Whether it's man-to-man or zone coverage like it is right here, he understands space out on the field. He's able to snap it down. Good finish with the football. This kid's going to be a good player here in Indianapolis for a long time.
Here's Trey Sermon's first touch, and a flag comes in from the backfield.
Max Crosby getting up, indicating hold.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And that goes against Braden Smith, back at right tackle this week for the Colts.
And Trey Sermon's going to get some carries here. Zach Moss, who was their leading rusher, is down with an arm injury, so he can't fully give Jonathan Taylor 30 carries this game. So Trey Sermon's going to get a lot. Last time I was in this building, or actually 2 times ago I was in this building, was the Big Ten Championship. Kid rushed for 300 yards. It was amazing.
Trying to recreate that today.
Yeah, right.
December of 2020, he rushed for 331 against Northwestern in this stadium. First and 20. Minshew, quick pass. Pittman's got it. And a tackle immediately made by Amik Robertson. This Raiders secondary has been playing very well of late for Antonio Pierce and Patrick Graham.
Well, what they've been doing, Andrew, is sure tackling, not making a lot of mistakes. And there's some young players on that side, obviously. Jack Jones, who got a lot of fanfare last weekend with the pick 6 and the second of the season. But they also have been aggressive today. It hasn't hurt them yet. It did earlier with the one big completion of downs, but expect them to continue that way. Keep it simple and be aggressive.
Second and 14, Minshew dancing around, Crosby chasing him, and Minshew gets rid of it. It is complete along the sideline to Downs, but he only gets 2 yards on the play as Crosby once again was hounding Minshew.
It's relentless, and with great pass rushers like Max Crosby is, it's not always about the sacks, but just affecting the quarterback and being around him. I don't think there's anybody in this league that is around the quarterback quite as often as Max Crosby seems to be.
Well, that's because he doesn't leave the field.
It's unbelievable.
Literally 8 games, he's played 100% of the snaps, 90+% of the snaps. And he conditions, he trains himself to be that way.
Third down and 11. Minshew to Mo Alley Cox, and he dropped it. Diablo was right there, but Cox should have had that one, and now it's 4th and long. Second drop today by the Colts.
Both by the tight ends, too. Kylan Granson and Mo Alley Cox right here. And this is one I think sometimes you're starting to look for space in front of you, right? You just take your eyes off it for that split second when you're trying to find space to be able to get that first down.
Or you're looking for who's about to blow you up.
One of it. Yeah, one of the two.
Sanchez out to punt for the 3rd time in the half. Raiders have 2 return men back deep. Abdullah just ran on the field, and Carter calls for a fair catch. So I don't think the Raiders had enough on the field at the time of the snap, and Abdullah ran on after a 50-yard punt. And Zamir White has another touch.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face. Defense, number 35. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's on Chris Lamont, who had that nice pass breakup earlier in the game.
Well, a lot of times there gets this hand fighting at the point of attack right here, and you're just going to see you can't do it. You can't go with that quick jam to that head and neck area. It's going to be called every time when you do it. But that's one of the spots we're going to talk about all day, because Kenny Moore is usually in that role. And one of the sneaky things that Kenny Moore does really well is defend the run.
Right back to Zamir White. And he crosses the 40. A gain of 4 for Zamir White, who rushed for a career-high 145 yards on Monday against the Chiefs. And he promised his offensive line that if he went for over 100, he'd buy them all new Jordan sneakers. The problem that he found out this week is that the O-linemen have really big feet, and he can't get the right size.
Yeah, didn't he say one of them was 18?
18.
18 extra wide is hard to find in the J.
Yeah, you can't go off to the store and rip those off the shelf. 2nd and 6, quick pass. In space is Myers, and a good job tackling by E.J. Speed.
You know, going back to Zamir White, his story is unbelievable. You know, premature, hit a cleft palate. His mom also said his trailer fire. He almost passed away there, but he survived it. Gets to Georgia, tears an ACL. Actually tore one in high school, tore another one. Wins up national championship. He's the second leading rusher down there that season, and he's just a marvel. He comes into this game with only, 59 carries. 39 of them happened in the last 2 weeks alone. So
right up the middle. Meanwhile, Davante Adams now with 37 yards receiving. So that puts him over 1,000 for the year. It's the 4th consecutive season he's had 1,000 yards, and the 5th time he's done that overall.
I mean, he's incredibly consistent. To me, he's still, regardless of the numbers, I get he gets 1,000 yards, but whatever the touchdowns are and all those kind of things, he's still one of the very best in this league. And he's a problem for defenses to have to account for. But I like what they're doing early. They came out targeting Davante Adams and now starting to settle in and run the football.
Zamir White again trying to turn those legs forward. He's going to be a yard shy of a first down. For more on Davante, let's check in with AJ.
Well, guys, when we spoke with Davante, he's obviously one of the more interesting players to speak with in this league. He said he actually spoke with Michael Jordan during this offseason about his definition of greatness. And he says there's so many levels. It's a piece of how you lead men as a captain. It's how you respond to adversity. He had 2 different quarterbacks last year, 2 different quarterbacks this year. And for him to maintain that level of success is just really amazing, guys.
And no doubt about it. As on 3rd and 1, remember last time 3rd and 1, Raiders pulled out that trick play. See what they do here. Play action. O'Connell looking deep, and it's incomplete. Intended for Trey Tucker. And good coverage by Jalen Jones. And on 4th down, Antonio Pierce is keeping the offense on the field.
Well, you said it last time, Andrew. They went with the trick play on that 3rd and 1, and they go with the shot down the field. It's clear that they came into this game with the mindset of, we're going to be aggressive when we get in that logo area of the field on 4th down and 4th and short. Right here, you got to make it pay, though.
Yeah,
when you take those shots, you got to make it count when you're going for it on 4th.
Absolutely, and Antonio did tell us, look, I'm not that conservative, right? I'm aggressive when I have to be, and it's how we played the game.
Play clock at 1, and they don't snap it. There's the delay of game.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Yeah, ultimately, this one's just a little bit too long. 1.5 yards, let's call it. It's not just an easy sneak for the quarterback like we saw in the last time they had 4th down, which ultimately was turned over because of the false start penalty. But I mean, every coach does this.
Maybe slightly more conservative.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also got to be.
But you got to use your head,
right? You got to be smart.
He did tell us that 4th downs in this game for him were going to be like playing with house money, with where they are in the playoff race, knowing they needed to win. But he pulls back here and sends out his punt team. It looks like the AFC South will come down to next week as Pittman has the catch and runs out of bounds after picking up the first down.
Well, it's been interesting. The Raiders, knowing that the Colts want to run the ball, have been coming up with the 5-down defensive lineman look. This is clearly their response that we just saw. Gardner Minshew, automatic at the line of scrimmage, just flicks it out to Michael Pittman.
Yeah, when you put big guys out there, you want to spread it out, right, on the offensive side of the ball. They went with that stack way outside the numbers, and as a quarterback, you're just looking for space. If you got enough, throw it out there, take the completion, take the first down.
Minshew sets up the screen to Taylor. Spillane is there. Taylor gets away from Spillane and picks up 7 yards on the play. Jack Jones finally makes the tackle. Hey, look at this Indianapolis offensive line, and it's coached by Tony Sparano Jr. Shane Steichen said one of the most important hires he made in the offseason was Sparano Jr. And, of course, his father, the late Tony Sr., was the Raiders' interim head coach back in 2014. He took over after Dennis Allen was fired. And Tony Jr. has done a wonderful job here in Indianapolis. As Taylor follows that offensive line, picks up the first down. NFL Today update. Here's JB and Phil Sims.
Buffalo's D contributing to the act.
Oh, it's doing a lot more than contributing. Bailey Zappi, 3rd interception of the day. 2nd one for Rasul Douglas. He takes the interception, runs 40 yards for the touchdown that puts the Buffalo Bills up 20-7 over New England. Back to Andrew and the crew.
All right, Phil, Bills can clinch a spot today with a win and some help. The win itself doesn't send them to the playoffs just yet. 1st and 10. Pierce going deep again. Minshew underneath to Sherman. It's a nice catch. Upended. Ball came out, and they're saying he was down. Robertson scooped up the football, but the official was right there to point to the ground for a gain of 7.
Yeah, he goes topsy-turvy here a little bit, Trey Sermon, but you'll see his left elbow hits the ground. That's when the ball comes loose.
2nd and 3. Minshew over the middle, right back to Sermon, and they're going to spot him a half a yard shy of a 1st down. Marcus Epps on the tackle for the Raiders.
Well, that's a good job by Gardner Minshew the last 2 plays, taking a look down the field, but then getting the ball out of his hand quickly and checking the football down. Part of what you need to do as a quarterback is just keep your offense on schedule. You had this really good first drive, but there hasn't been much since. How do you get back into rhythm? Find ways to get completions. Good job there the last two plays by Gardner Minshew.
Josh Sills reports as eligible. We heard the referee announce that.
Don't go there, Andrew.
3rd down and 1. Minshew pressure coming, taking a deep shot. Pierce is there. Pierce at the 10, 5, touchdown. 58 yards. Alec Pierce loves to go deep, and Minshew locates him on 3rd and 1.
Well, Minshew's not going to miss this one. There is no safety in the center of the field, and they're just going to drag here and run Alec Pierce on the post behind it, and there's just too much space. This is as open as the one he missed earlier in the game, but Alec Pierce, you said it, is the vertical threat. All he does is go deep. They're 1 for 2 on finding him, 1 for 1 on the touchdown.
A career-long reception for Pierce of 58 yards, and the extra.
That football down, putting them in position to be aggressive on that 3rd and 1.
It's a touchback, and let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, I give Gardner Minshew credit, right? Just hanging in the pocket. You're going to see right here, Spillane coming through, and Gardner Minshew has to navigate this, right? When you're going to throw it deep, you've got to hang on.
But there's also an influence of the new rules on protecting quarterbacks, and you can see it a little bit. Spillane kind of checked up as opposed to running right down Gardner Minshew's chest. But here is Max Crosby imploring his team. He's saying, we got to do it right now. I took out the explicitive. He has to go out and get after the ball player, and those guys got to stop making mistakes in the secondary.
O'Connell looking for the screen. He finds Zamir White. Some room to run for White. White picks up 8 yards.
It's interesting, you know, you go those screens, and a lot of times when they get disrupted, you get called for maybe an illegal guy downfield, and
yeah,
I think they might have got away with one right there.
Did. It's funny because
a couple men down there pretty far, but didn't get the call.
When Zamir White caught that one, I said, dude, there's space. This could be a big play. But he got hemmed up a little bit.
Monday. What do you
Here's White, picks up the 1st down and more. Across the 40 and lowers the shoulder to the 42-yard line. That's a gain of 9.
Yeah, that's Zamir White's 10th carry of the game. It's almost at 4 yards a carry, almost at 40 yards. But this is what we saw last week from Zamir White. You're going to get those 3 yards in a cloud of dust, 2, 1 here, maybe 5 or 6. But every now and then he's going to bust one for 10 yards or so. And this is what Antonio Pierce wants. He doesn't want to put it all on his quarterback. With Josh Jacobs out, you kind of have to just hand it to one guy. It's been Zamir White.
10 carries, 39 yards for White. O'Connell over the middle. He's got Myers for a 1st down. And he's spun down at the 44. A gain of 15 for the Raiders.
Well, I think one of the ways, you talk about Aiden O'Connell having to get into a rhythm, and one of the ways to do that, you know, as a quarterback is to face zone coverage, right? Man-to-man, your completion percentage typically goes down, right? It's a little bit more difficult, but you get the big plays. In zone coverage, there's space, right? And he's going to see plenty of zone coverage with all the injuries that they have at the back end and just who Gus Bradley is. But I think that allows Aiden O'Connell to get into a rhythm, and he's looked pretty good here in the 1st half.
Matt told me they'd choose a kid to go get the junior blue outfit. That's awesome.
I got to say, when I was here in Indy, my twin boys were up here, and Their favorite person they met the entire time in Indianapolis was Blue. He couldn't have been nicer to him, so big shout out to Blue.
Wow. Blue getting a lot of love on the broadcast. 2-minute warning, each team with all 3 timeouts. O'Connell steps up in trouble, and DeForest Buckner with the sack. 7 sacks on the year for Buckner.
Pretty soon they're going to have 4 guys with 8. DeForest Buckner's just a problem in the middle, and he always has been. But it's just the effort, the relentless effort to be able to just escape late, and then the coverage in the back end. It takes time for things to develop down the field. This zone coverage, they eat up the space. They did a good job there of eating up the space and allowing the front 4 to go to work. And if you get DeForest Buckner that time, with his skill set and his effort, he's going to get home.
Yeah, he needs to turn around and say thank you, secondary, thank you very much.
60th sack of his career, a milestone for Buckner on 2nd and...
Davante Adams catches this, and he goes backwards and obviously loses yardage, but he's trying to figure out a way to try to get the first down. And I understand it, but
the hard part is, right, like if you're going and you're past the 40 right here and you're catching the ball, maybe the 37, 38, if you just stop right there, you've got a chance to kick that field goal, right? A long field goal, right? It's just going down. And I understand wanting to get the first, and trust me, I was never in that position out in space to have to make a decision like that.
It's almost, it's counter-instinctual because you want to get free. Like all of us as young ball carriers, we wanted to be the juke guy. We wanted to be like Barry Sanders, and we think we could create something out of that. But if he dives forward, it's a shorter, or it's a field goal opportunity as opposed to a punt.
Downs lets this one go over his head. It's a soft bounce for the Raiders, and it's downed by Masterson at the 5-yard line. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this.
One. Back.
The winter play was really coming together. Until disaster struck.
10-yard line, and they run it on 1st down. Let's see if Antonio Pierce wants to use any of his timeouts. And it appears that he does not. It will be Raiders football to begin the 2nd half. And it looks like both teams are content with going into the locker room. Don't forget, coming up, Verizon Halftime Report with all the scores and highlights on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Non-aggressive on both sides.
Yeah, kind of interesting on both sides. And you don't really see this much anymore in the NFL, just taking it to the half. With all the analytics, guys tend to be aggressive and push it as much as they can and use their timeouts to their advantage. But I guess both content to take it to the 2nd half.
Well, now Antonio Pierce will call a timeout, which if he's going to take one now, I'm not sure why he wouldn't have done it on the previous play. Pierce said to us last night he's getting better at some of these coaching decisions. He focuses a lot on clock management in the last 2 minutes of each half. He does have some help up in the booth with Matt Sheldon, the director of football research and strategy. But this is new territory for Antonio Pierce.
And he's learning on the go. I mean, it's so odd for me to see him. He was my teammate for the New York Giants, and he was all ball, man. And you didn't know when he would show up, but you knew that he would be in some capacity back in the NFL after his stint in Arizona State. And, if he ends up getting this full-time job, 2 of my teammates will be head coaches, Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Here's Taylor on 3rd and 3, picks up the 1st down. And that should do it. Halftime here in Indianapolis, and the Colts have a 14-3 lead on the Raiders. Halftime. Your local station.
Dad, you okay?
It's our phone bill. We pay for things that we don't need. Loaded bundles, the reckless spending. No more.
That's a bit dramatic. A better plan is Verizon. Starts at $25 a line.
Did you say $25 a line?
And save big on things.